This is Sheryl Renee, and I speak life.
Welcome back, beloveds. This is Dora Chambers, and it is now time for Speak Life Chat Room, and it is with great honor and delight that I have the opportunity to introduce to you a phenomenal woman, Sheryl Renee, vocalist, producer, actress, entrepreneur, and advocate, truly a Renaissance woman. So I would like to say welcome to you, my dear sister, Sheryl Renee.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here on Speak Life for Dora, speaking life with us today. That's what it's all about.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I'm so excited because you and I had the blessing of meeting each other, I guess, almost 2 years ago at a women's retreat, and we just hit it off sister to sister, and we was truly in a room full of beautiful sisters, and it was such a great experience, and we connected right away. And then we were blessed to have you bless our stage at the Speak Life event at the Atlanta Heritage Arts Festival last year as our featured artist for our Speak Life concert. Oh, you did that.
That was great.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. It was beautiful, and it was just such an honor to be able to have you bless our stage at Speak Life. So to have you here on Speak Life for Dora, our radio show now, is just everything to me. So I want to say thank you first and foremost for, being willing to be with us once again and speaking life.
Well, I'm honored. As you know, I am a listener. I tune in as often as I can and have had my spirit fed by you and your guests, and on this journey of constant improvement, self-improvement, and we need it. We need to be fed. You can eat a meal yesterday, but you got to eat again the next day.
That's right.
So yes, I enjoy it. I enjoy the work that you're doing, and it's so needed. And when we met, I had just moved back to Atlanta, and I was actually going through something, and it was so beautiful to come right into town and meet so many positive women who on a mission to uplift our sisters. You know what I mean? And so, that's been my journey since I got here. You know what I mean? Just praying for growth and being surrounded by, people who are feeding my spirit, feeding my knowledge, helping me to become all that I can be.
Yes, and it was quite a moment. It was definitely a divine moment. We laughed together, we danced together, we cried together, and in the end, we came out being sisters, and that was everything.
And what was good about that event for me, too, is that I didn't, the guest that invited me didn't come till much later. So it was, people think because I'm an entertainer, I'm very extroverted or whatever. But, it's good when you walk into a room of people you don't know and you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yes, that was that moment. It was that moment. Yes. And that began our journey together as sisters. And, again, that's why I'm so excited to have you here speaking life with us, because you just have such an amazing spirit and just full of love and life. And I just want to real quickly, begin, because you are truly, without a shadow of a doubt, Ms. Sheryl, a Renaissance woman. You are doing it, and you are doing everything and all things, and you're doing it well. So I would like to first say, ask you this question. Who is Sheryl Renee, the Renaissance woman?
Sheryl Renee, the Renaissance woman, is a true survivor. I am a survivor in every sense of the word. I am someone that has been through the fire, and I'm blessed to be what I call a free spirit. So in being a free spirit, I decided when I was 18, 19 years old that I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to be freelance. And in the last, 33, 34 years of doing that, I really became this Renaissance woman because I had to do all of these things to support myself and my children. I raised 3 daughters. And so, my gift is as a vocalist, but became an actress, and I became an entrepreneur, and then I became an award-winning child safety activist, and I just threw it all in, in order to make sure that the funds kept coming in, and some people say, Jill of all, what they call it, Jack, but Jill of all trades, the master of none, and I think that, there is that part too, because I look back and I say, well, perhaps if I had just focused on being a jazz vocalist or R&B vocalist, if I had just focused in on being an actress, perhaps at this point in my life, I would be, on a different level for myself. But, life just didn't allow that for me. I had to keep it going. So I diversified, and now I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I couldn't do a different thing, every day. It's in my spirit now. It's in my spirit. And then I've heard the word Renaissance woman. I like that. I like that, Renaissance woman. That puts a good spin on it. So that's how that all came about.
Well, I commend you, because I like it too, Renaissance woman, because you can do it all and do it well, and you do that, and you do it with such grace and such style and such commitment and passion, just following your work and everything that you do. You put your whole heart into it, and especially as a vocalist, again, because, we first were blessed to hear your gift of singing at the women's retreat, where we just started playing around and you started bursting out them tunes. I was like, oh my God, you can sing for real. We were just goofing around, and then you opened your mouth. It was like, okay, this is serious. And then to have you do a full show for us on the Speak Life stage was just amazing. Where did your voice is so captivating? It is just so full, and it's just so rich. Where did your love first begin for singing and music, and when did you first discover that you had that talent?
Well, I was raised in the business. My mother and my stepfather were professional entertainers, and so as long as I can remember, there was always music around. There was always singing around. There were always rehearsals to go to. There were always, musicians coming in and out there. So literally, I've been in the business my whole life. My biological father is a pastor, and so and a singing pastor. So my parents met in a music room, and so music was definitely part of my destiny, and just having that model. My mother, who was her name is Katie Love, and she was probably one of the greatest vocalists that I ever heard still to this day, you know what I mean? And so to have this plateau to reach for, you know what I mean, vocally, I just, I loved it, and I loved the reaction. I loved the reaction that I got from people from the time I was a small child when I sang. So I had no problems singing until I got a little bit later in life, where it became a thing of, it was the control I had, and I would meet people and they say, oh, you sing. Oh, you sing?
Yeah.
And then I just clamped, and for several years I wouldn't, you know what I mean?
Wow.
When I was 18, I got a job at the phone company, and I quickly realized that wasn't for, that wasn't for me. I wanted to sing. I wanted to figure out how to do it, and so God opened those doors for me. And I became a professional singer at the age of 19, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow, and you have done it well, and again, you have, and I want people to understand and appreciate that you not only do you have an amazing range in your voice, you sing a 3-octave range, which is impressive, but you have opened up and headlined and opened up for the likes of Nancy Wilson, Jennifer Holliday, Diane Shore, Jeffrey Osborne, Railroad Earth, and more. I mean, you have really, been on some serious stages around the world and worked with some amazing talent. What does that feel like for you as a performer and as a singer to have your talent and gift appreciated by some of the best in the business?
I moved to New York City in 2011, and it was quite an adventure. I was just a couple of months shy of my 49th birthday. And I just, it was a lifelong dream. It was a lifelong dream to go to New York. And so as soon as my daughter finished school, I loaded up my truck and I went to New York City. And I can say I stayed almost 3 years, but I can say that the greatest part of that journey was the peer respect, the peers. I can't, I did okay there. I just say okay because I did work, and but New York City is its own its own monster. You know what I mean? I guess maybe monster is not the right word, but it's a machine, and it takes time. You have to go there and you have to pay your dues. Well, I was used to singing full time, so for me to go there. I would say the best part was meeting musicians and vocalists and singers who I'd been listening to my whole life because it's the best of the best. I've been listening to them with different artists. This one played with this guy, this one played, but to garner the respect of my peers. That's what I took away from there. There's nothing greater, than to be recognized by your peers as being on the A team, to being a world-class talent, of being, that's the gift that I took away. And I actually had to come back to that because I was when I left New York, I was a little lost. You have this dream your whole life. I'm going to go there. I'm going to be this star. I'm from Colorado. I was going to represent my state,
Yes.
and be this star. And then you get there, and it's like there's so much talent there, and there's so many people who want it. You know what I mean? And
they're hungry.
So many people that are hungry. The gifted, they call them posers. The posers, the ones that they want it, so that they might not have the gift. You know what I mean? But they're there on pure talent and drive and hunger, and you know what I mean. So, but that's what I took away. The greatest gift was the people, the people and my peers who right now, thanks to Facebook, because 10 years ago I would have left and I would have stayed in touch with the ones that I was close to. But now, thanks to Facebook and the fact that artists are self-promoting, and so they're on the social media, I'm connected to almost everybody I met there. So it's such a gift.
It's a gift, and that's a priceless gift. That is just such amazing and such a blessing. And I know, in addition to singing on stage and headlining and opening up for major acts, you were also played amazing roles and had a long stint in the musical theater production as well. I know you've been in over 30 musical productions, and some that you've actually written and produced yourself. What was that experience like? From taking it from one stage to a whole nother stage, that of theater. What drove your love for the stage, and it comes to theater work?
Well, again, it comes down to opportunity to sing. And when I was 17 years old, I did my first show in Colorado at the Bonfils Theater. And those doors just led to more, you know what I mean? I took theater. I took a theater class in high school, and of course my parents were actors. My parents were singing and performing actors. So, the bug is there. And then, of course, it's just a matter of once you meet people, you continue to have doors open. But I love theater. I love theater. I love the process of it. I love the live audience every night. It's a lot of work. It is, it requires you. It will force you to be a professional. Because you have to show up. You got to be on time. You got a stage manager that is on your tail. There's no king and slacking. And, you're in rehearsal, but then when you go home, you can't go hang out because you're expected to be, whatever you went through that day, you're expected to know it and have it ingested, and come back the next day ready to learn more. So, I love that about theater. And then again, just the whole thing of having a new audience every night, performing for a different audience every night. And, It's not a easy way to make a living, theater. And I would imagine, unless you're a big name as everything, you know what I mean. You're not going to get rich on it, but it is an absolutely wonderful medium and a way to stay sharp.
Yes, and it's also about, being able to do what you love. And I'm sure that's a great reward, yes, being able to do what you love. And speaking of theater, I know that now that you're currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where we met, that you recently began working with one of my favorites in Atlanta, Georgia, Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. As a production manager, assistant. Yes! I'm excited. When I say huge fan, I'm a huge fan of Kenny Leon's. I don't miss their productions. I don't miss them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so blessed, Again, I've been self-employed for 34 years, and so just having this opportunity to work with his team, these incredible people. There are probably about 7 or 8 employees there, but everybody's been so great and so welcoming, and they appreciate what I bring to the table, and I'm hungry, and I had to stop telling her every day how much I love my job.
You was excited.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so excited to have a job, and I love it. Oh, my gosh. But I'm so excited. We have a show that's opening there next Friday called Chasing Them Blues, and it's about the untold story of Paramount Records, and it's written and directed by Kevin Ramsey. And so just, being around all of these fantastic people, Kenny had a golf gala last month, and Tavis Smiley, Debbie Allen, just the celebrities that were there, and I was like, okay, I'm pinching myself to just not only be in the industry that I love, work with people I love, and the woman who I am the assistant of, Lisa Watson, who is the production manager, I'm her assistant, and I just adore her. I just, it's definitely a God-sent thing, and it's good for me because I'm at a fork in the road, or I was at a fork in the road. Now I'm moving up a road,
That's
and
right.
So it was an answer to a prayer.
I love that.
But it was an answer to a prayer,
Yeah, I love that. And for those of you, we have a huge listening audience in Atlanta, Georgia. I know many people love and appreciate the work of Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater and the work that he has done for many, many years in Atlanta. So what a great honor to be able to represent such a reputable organization that has, continued to do the work and stay in the trenches in the, world of theater. Like you said, is not easy. And to be able to go out and support. So make sure all of you go out and support, the work of Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. Anything they're doing in Atlanta is just a blessing. And I know he also does work in New York as well. So, again, like I said, I'm a huge fan. So congratulations to you. Well, listen, we've gone from, being the headliner, the opening act, to theater work, to now you are also a recording artist. I know you released one album. Do you have more than one album that you've actually released, or is it just the one?
Well, I've actually done. I've had to. I have a CD called One Voice, and it is just me singing some spirituals and gospels. But I never technically released it. I recorded it, but the CDs, Sheryl Renee and Her Salute to the Legends, I recorded and released in 2004. So I have sung on countless CDs as a session vocalist, and I guess there's a part of me that would like to record another CD, but the industry has changed so much that I don't know. I don't know if recording another CD is in the works for me, but if so, I'm going to walk through that door.
That's right, and we're going to speak life to it.
Yes.
We are going to speak live to it. So give us the title of your album again, and is that still available where people can still get a copy?
Yes, I do sell the download. I'm selling individual songs, and I sell those off on my CD, Sheryl Renee. My website, SherylRenee.com.
Okay. Excellent. And then give that website again so everybody can have it. As a matter of fact, this is a good time to give all your contact information in case people want to follow you and, tap into your website and all the amazing work that you're doing, because I know we have something that we haven't announced. You have an upcoming event that we want to share as well.
Okay, thank you. Well, my website is www.SherylRenee.com, and that's Sheryl with an S, SherylRenee.com. And if you go on there, it leads to my other websites because I am also Bargain Queen. And I do promotions, Sheryl Renee Promotions, and I have a link down there for that website as well as a link to Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. So, yes.
That Renaissance woman, the Renaissance woman, for real. Absolutely. Well, great. I invite everyone to please visit SherylRenee.com to find out all the amazing work that she's doing and also still be able to get a copy of some of her songs so you can download it and just really appreciate it, enjoy the magnificent and captivating voice of Sheryl Renee. Well, listen, I know you have something big coming up that you have coming up in the very, very near future. So we'd love for you to share what that is with our listening audience.
Okay, well, I'm going on tour. I'm from Colorado, and I am doing my first Rocky Mountain Love Tour in Colorado, and we kick off next weekend. It's very close, I'm there July. My tour is July 12th through the 19th, but I'm opening for Shirley Murdoch and Zapp at a concert in Colorado Springs on the 11th, which is not part of my tour, but I was blessed to be added to that. So that's what I'm getting ready to do, and all of it is. I'm very proud of it. I mentioned earlier Bargain Queen, and my website for Bargain Queen is bargainqueen.biz. But basically, I am an advocate for the working class. I became an advocate probably 30 years ago, but only in the last couple of years have I started now moving towards introducing this part of myself to the world. And basically, it's I share no-cost to low-cost ideas for enhancing the quality of your life. And this is just because I've always been very comfortable around the word working class, but people who are struggling, people who are trying to make it in this country, in this capitalistic system. And, the thing is I have great compassion for people who are working for minimum wage or maybe a little bit more, and, you pay your bills and there's nothing left for you, And so what I'm doing is showing people how you can really enjoy this country, for little or no money. And I have to say, being a mostly single parent raising 3 girls in the entertainment business, I became quite good at it.
Right.
I became quite good at stretching that dollar. But I'm after listening to you yesterday, I'm really being careful about what. Yesterday I was so moved by what you were talking about as far as
the law of compensation.
Law of compensation, and also just being very clear about the self-talk that I use when I'm discussing money, and because I think that I've gotten real comfortable with living on basically what I have, and I've gotten so good at it that I'm trying to be very careful of that. I am not limiting I'm not limiting myself by the way that I'm speaking about my life, the way that I'm viewing money. Just can you just touch a little bit on what you were saying yesterday?
Yes, listen.
It had such a profound impact on me.
It is so huge. It is so interesting, Sheryl, that you would bring that up, because that has been like the number one comment yesterday. The Facebook, my text and phone was just blowing up about the show that we did on the law of compensation, and having it requires not only that we understand the law of sowing and reaping. What we sow is what we should also reap, but it's also understanding how we think about money and the energy of reaping harvest, not just a monetary, but in blessings, period. Our thought process also, delivers our harvest as well. But most importantly, understanding that it's all energy and having the positive and right mindset and being able to give, especially when we talked about paying those bills with gratitude and thanksgiving and being able to give cheerfully. When we're giving cheerfully and learning not to begrudge when we have to put money out, because when you begrudge it, we don't understand that we're blocking that energy. Yet when I have to put money out, whether it's for the bills or just my everyday needs, that I'm doing it with a spirit of thanksgiving and gratitude. And in that spirit, we are then opening ourselves up for abundance in our every need and every supply. And when I say that is huge, so much so that we've already agreed to do a show just on that portion of it, because it just, like you said, it hit a chord for individuals. You were one of the first that responded to it, and then it just stopped buzzing after that. And, I think that's a conversation we have to visit. Just hearing what you're saying, it comes back to my mind what my mother used to always say, when things she like you, single mother, and, just like what I say, can create a meal out of nothing and, create something out of nothing. That was it. And learning how to pinch here and do that so we would never have to go without. I mean, we have so many mothers out there and fathers that have been able to master that. But when things, changed for us, especially, through my business, being an entrepreneur, and was able to take care of things, and my brother was a professional basketball player in the Philippines, life kind of changed for us a little bit, But she used to say I would have to remind myself that when I went to the grocery store, I was still shopping with that hamburger mentality when I could buy filet mignon.
Yes.
That was huge.
That had such a profound effect on me yesterday, because it made me, I spent the rest of the day when I got off the phone with you really looking at myself. Mm-hmm. Because I am definitely that person. I am that person. I've prospered, but I'm still going to the thrift store. It's very hard for me to go into a mall and because I have, this is the way that I've had a very frugal life, and to the point that I am sharing that life with other people. But at the same, what yesterday taught me was I got to be real careful, though. I got to be real careful that I'm not limiting myself, that I'm not being as frugal as I am, that I am not putting limitations on my life and what's out there for me.
That's right.
And
that's huge.
And that's that whole thing of paying your bills and with gratitude. I'm telling you that affected me, because I am a person, when I gotta find.
I already know.
I gotta find my real paying gratitude. Okay.
Because you catch yourself when the bills come, you're like, the light bill, the gas bill. What we knew it was coming.
There it is again. You knew it was coming. That's what you said. That phone bill is due every month at the same time. You know it's coming.
Yes.
So why is it? Why begrudgingly go to it instead of going to it with a grateful mind, with grateful for the ability to pay it. Grateful that the phone is still on, that I can pick it up and do a radio interview. Yes,
indeed.
So this blessed me for my journey and what I'm doing as Bargain Queen, because I am reaching people who are definitely caught in this rut of trying to make the best out of life with what they have. So, on my site, I give ideas for ways to have free fun for your kids, for family, how to save money. I talk about thrift stores, flea markets, garage sales, Craigslist, pawn shops, where have quality things, even if they can't afford to pay full price, and the thing is, I know that this is blessing people. I know that it's making a difference. My Facebook page, Bargain Queen Sheryl Renee, I go on every day. I'm finding there's such a plethora of information out here to help people, and so anyway, I'm very proud of it. I feed it every day with fantastic articles that are wide, reaching, not just on how to save money, but, a bunch of different things. So this tour that I'm doing, Rocky Mountain Love Tour, is an extension of that. And what I did is I made sure that everyone that I booked, every event that I booked, was free and open to the public. So because I go home a lot of times and people say, hey, I want to come to your concert, but I can't afford it. At the end of the, I didn't have enough left at the end of the paycheck to do. So I said, you know what? I want to do a give back tour for my home state, just to say I appreciate you. I appreciate the support that you've given me, throughout my life. And so I'm doing 4 dates, the Colorado Black Arts Festival, which is in beautiful Denver City Park. We can probably see anywhere 8,000 to 10,000 people in the park that night because there are 2 festivals happening there, and so that's going to be fun. Jazz at Jack's, I'm going to Colorado Springs where I was a childhood resident, so I'm very happy about that. And then into the beautiful Rocky Mountains to the Keystone Wine and Jazz Festival on Sunday, July 19th. So I'm just so excited about it. It's potentially not a money-making venture, but it's my tithing. It's my tithe back to my friends and family and supporters in Colorado, and I'm just so happy to be able to go and do it, and also very happy to have produced this myself. I have every bit of it. I produced this concert because that was part of the thing that I was going through was, what do I do with my career? You sit around waiting for people to decide that, they're going to put you on their events. Well, I can't wait for others anymore. I've got to make things happen for me so that my spirit is still being fed and that I can, feel good about my life and my career. I'm 52, almost 53 years old. There's a part of me that's very concerned about my future. I'm single, and I'm not prepared for retirement, and so I was after leaving New York and I went through something very deep because it's like, what do I do with my life? Well, what I came out of it was, number one, I have to trust God. Oh my God, has He ever failed me? Never. I have to trust. Never. I must stand on my faith. And the second thing is I have to do everything that I can to prosper my career in life. And that means, I got to get on the phone and make opportunities. So I got on the phone and, and I found sponsors. I created an opportunity for small businesses or entrepreneurs or organizations that help the needy to sponsor this concert, very affordable sponsorships. And, and everything is just coming together beautifully. So, I'm encouraged and I want to encourage others. You know what I mean? One thing about America, if you have a passion and you have a dream, there is a way to make a legal at it here in this country.
Yes. And the thing that keeps coming up for me, too, is understanding that it goes back to that sowing and reaping. And even though you're doing these beautiful events and they're free, it's still about sowing your seeds with the gifts and talents that you've been blessed with. And because of universal law, you will reap. And sometimes what we tend to do, and we all can attest to this, is we're waiting for other people to work our field.
Yes. Wait for that phone call. Who's going to call me with a gig? I need a gig. Who's going to call me? Well, I can't wait around for a gig. I got to get on the phone and say, hey, look, I produce a show. Right. This is what I do. Here's the boom, 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 and then work out the deals. Right. So you've got to toot your own horn, but that was something else that you said yesterday, that since you touched on that a little bit, that really blessed me. Because a lot of the times, I'm a giver. You know what I mean? People call me, really, I for psychology or something, because something about me, when a woman is going through it, honey, I have friends that will call. I may not ever hear from them once a year, but when they get in distress, they call me. And maybe it was because I was a cheerleader for 5 years. I don't know. But I like to pump up my girls. I like to help my friends, But a lot of times you do things and nobody sees it. But you just got to trust the universal law. That when you are giving, it's being seen, it's being received. If no human eyes see it, it's being,
it always works whether anybody is looking or not. That was major for me too.
Oh, I needed to hear that yesterday.
Yes.
And to be quite honest with you, just listening to you yesterday, listening to your show, I got so much out of it, Dora, and I just feel like I woke up today different. I feel like I woke up today more focused. I woke up today relieved, because the thing is, it's like, of course, as life would have it, I need more sponsors for my content. I didn't get as many as I need, but I'm not worried about it. And then I thought about just how much I do for other people and blah, blah, blah. And then I heard you say, look, you can't be worried about that. You cannot worry about that. All you can do is continue to give and trust and trust, the cycle of it. And
trust the process.
I so needed to hear that. I so needed to hear that just to get my mind in a place where I can really move forward and do what I have to do here for this next week and a half.
Well, my dear sister, we give thanks, because that's just confirmation for us and for me that, the platform that we have created here with Speak Life for Dora is necessary and is needed. And, it just means everything to me to just hear you say that you've gotten so much out of it, because even, as I'm speaking, I, too, am just taking so much from it. And to hear your testimony of what that show meant to you is just life for me right now. So we definitely give thanks. And you understand the platform Speak Life, not only from, the perspective of, our concerts that we do, but also as a regular listener of our Speak Life for Dora show. And, it is, like you said, the heart of giving and understanding the power of the spoken word. The power of the spoken word is so key. So let me ask you this. How do you, as a Renaissance woman who's, has so many, you acquired such great knowledge and wisdom to do a lot of different fishing at it. But when it's time to speak life to Sheryl, how do you speak life to you?
I kind of, I have to go in. Just a little background. I'm an incest survivor. And I have spent the majority of my adult life just trying to heal, trying to trust, learning to trust, not trying, learning to trust, healing my spirit, healing my mind, healing from the losses, because it cost me a relationship. My past, that situation, cost me key relationships that people, take for granted, you know what I mean? And so I go in, I go inside, and that's the introverted part of me. And what I'm doing, and another thing is just trusting. And the same way I got invited to that women's conference, and I'm meeting people, and everything that I need, every prayer that I pray, I find an answer to. God sends me the answer. He's sending me confirmation. He's sending me. He's dropping breadcrumbs for me. Come this way. Follow this way. But I have to say, when I said that I'm a survivor in every sense of the word, I do find that I go in. I go in.
I feel that.
It's a faith walk for me. It really is. I pray all the time. I pray, but I'm not necessarily one. You know what I mean. My relationship with God is it's more of a personal relationship, and I do fellowship from time to time, but mostly, I'm looking within. I'm praying. I'm looking for answers, and then I'm self-talk. So that's why it's so important that I clean up my self-talk, that I tune in and tune out what I don't need to be, what I don't need to say to myself, and what I do need to be saying to myself. You know what I mean? That I encourage myself, that I reward myself, that I, you know what I mean? When I grow, I say, "This is good, Sheryl. This is good. You're doing."
Yes.
But
we have to do that.
I think you do have to do that, but I have to say that's where I go. I go to God, and I go within. I go within, and God uses his people. He uses his people. You know what I mean? He uses his people to answer your prayers. He uses, you know what I mean? I can pray a certain thing, and then, you know, I'm driving down the street, and there's the answer up on this billboard. It's like, oh, my gosh. Or, you know, I get direct signs. I get direct signs when I pray. And I so believe in the power of prayer. I believe in it so much, and it sustains me. You know, it sustains me, and you know, and I'm a believer, and it blesses me.
Mm-hmm. And how do you speak life to others?
Again, I'm a cheerleader to my heart. I am a cheerleader. I want the best for everyone. That's how I got into the business of website design and marketing, because I saw so many people around me who, you know what I mean, they're so great, but they don't have, you know, they don't have the materials. They don't have the promo that they need. They don't, you know what I mean? So I am a cheerleader. I probably get on people's nerves, because when I meet somebody, but when they tell me what their dream is, it could be a casual conversation. Oh, you know, I like to read, you know, I like to read and kind of proof. By the time we get done talking, I've given them 10 different ways that they can learn to live in proofing, okay? I've sent them to websites. I'm like, they didn't ask for all that. They just said, but I just want to encourage people, you can. If whatever your dream is, you can do it. So then I start, I get all gung-ho. I want to really help, you know. So I can't tell you how many websites I've built for people, you know what I mean? And I used to have a production company. And you know what I found out, though? You can want the best for people, but people have to want it for themselves. You know, I can't tell you how many websites I've built for people, and they're just sitting. They're not being used because it was my vision for them. Not they're not hungry. I can't be hungry for everyone. So, you know, I'm a person. I love to give advice. I'm a great friend. You know what I mean? I like being there for people. And, you know, again, my past, because of my past, I've learned to love the ones who love you. You know what I mean? So I have a huge family of friends. God sent sisters and brothers and mothers, and you know what I mean? So I have a very big extended family that I share no DNA, you know, and I'm so blessed by it. And so I'm so grateful for people who really love me, that, you know, I'll do anything for them. You know, I'll do anything. So I guess I guess the answer to the question is just being there, being able to listen, you know, being a cheerleader, giving that advice, you know, girl, that's what you do.
Well, you know, you were definitely there for me last year for the Heritage Festival. You were just so great and just so supportive and like, oh, yeah, that was good. You did this good. And, you know, do this and do that. It was so helpful and so appreciative. And you know, I had so much respect for that, because we need that. We need people that, you know, will be the one rally behind you when they see that you're doing the work. And that's the key. When you recognize that someone is truly doing the work and committed to doing the work, yes, you know, then it requires us to be able to stand behind them and push them and encourage them and cheer them on. And you are definitely that in an amazing way. So I just want to say, this was just absolutely extraordinary. Speaking life with you today really has given me life, as I know it has given so many that are listening to us today. And we definitely have to continue this conversation. And I just want to say, continue to trust the process. Continue to walk with your faith and allow that light to shine, and allow your love to just be, you know, what attracts, and just allow that law of attraction to just become a magnet for everything that's good and everything that's great that God has already ordained for you. So I thank you so much, my sister, and I appreciate you more than words can say for being with us here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. You know, no doubt, this is a blessed life. This is a blessed life. You know, I serve the President of the United States. I have nothing to complain about as far as my career and my life. You know, so this right here, this interview, I thought I'd be shy. Look at me. I probably ran you over.
Look at me. See, that's what happens when you just let the Spirit lead it. And so it is all good. It is all good.
Oh, well. Anyway, thank you so much for what you're doing. And I know, it's like just know that your words are not in vain. The work that you're doing is not in vain. If you reach one soul a day, if you reach one soul a day, you are doing so much, Dora, for us out here. And I appreciate your show because Speak Life, just the name of it, life. Okay, there's no derogatory conversations happening here. This is all about life, you know what I mean? And life is beautiful. Yes.
Life is beautiful, and together we shall continue to speak life. So continue blessings to you, my dear Sheryl Renee, and we're going to go out by listening to a magnificent song with the extraordinary voice of Sheryl Renee, Angel. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.